The year is 1848, Europe is teetering on the brink of a revolutionary abyss. A wave of revolution sweeps across the continent, toppling monarchs and shaking the foundations of power. In the midst of this turmoil, two young German intellectuals, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, publish an incendiary pamphlet. A document that would leave an indelible mark on history, this document will change the world. Marx and Engels, exiled from their country for their radical ideas, were tasked by the Communist League with drafting a clear and concise program for the nascent workers' movement. The Manifesto, as it came to be known, was a call to arms, a scathing critique of capitalism, and a visionary blueprint for a future communist society. Written in a style that was both accessible and electrifying, the Manifesto resonated with the frustrations of an increasingly industrialized working class. Its opening lines, "A spectre is haunting Europe, the spectre of communism," captured the sense of fear and anticipation surrounding this radical new ideology. Indeed, the Manifesto was more than just a political pamphlet. It was a declaration of war, an ideological war against the established power structures. It declared war on the existing social order, on the bourgeoisie, and on the capitalist system, which Marx and Engels viewed as inherently exploitative and unjust. This system, they argued, was responsible for the misery and alienation of the workers. The Manifesto was a call for the workers of the world to unite and overthrow their oppressors, to seize the means of production, and to create a society where all would be equal. A society where the exploitation of man by man would be abolished, and where freedom and equality would reign supreme. To understand the impact of the Communist Manifesto, we must first understand the historical context in which it was written. The Industrial Revolution, which began in the late 18th century, had radically transformed Europe. Factories sprang up in cities, drawing masses of peasants from the countryside in search of work and a better life. These workers, the proletariat, toiled long hours in dangerous conditions for meager wages, often without any social protection. They were the engine of industrial capitalism, but they owned nothing but their labor power, which they sold to the highest bidder. The wealth they created went into the pockets of the factory owners, the bourgeoisie, who controlled the means of production and held the reins of political and economic power. Marx and Engels witnessed firsthand the brutal realities of industrial capitalism, observing its devastating effects up close. They saw the poverty, inequality, and alienation it engendered, affecting millions of workers. They were convinced that capitalism was inherently unstable and prone to crises, and that it would eventually be overthrown by the very class it exploited, the proletariat, who would then take control of the means of production. The Communist Manifesto drew on a rich wellspring of ideas, synthesizing German philosophy, French socialism, and British political economy. Marx and Engels were deeply influenced by the work of thinkers like Hegel, Saint-Simon, and Fourier, but they also sought to ground their analysis in a materialist understanding of history, examining the economic and social forces at play. At the heart of the Communist Manifesto lies a powerful and enduring idea, the class struggle. History, Marx and Engels argued, is the history of class struggle. In every epoch, we find the oppressor and the oppressed, locked in a struggle for power and control. In the capitalist era, this struggle takes the form of a conflict between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. The bourgeoisie, owning the capital, controls the means of production and exploits the labor of the proletariat, the working class. The proletariat, on the other hand, owns nothing but its labor power, which it is forced to sell to the bourgeoisie to survive. This relationship, Marx and Engels argued, is inherently exploitative and unjust. The bourgeoisie extracts surplus value from the labor of the proletariat, enriching itself at the expense of the workers. The manifesto argues that the bourgeoisie, through its relentless pursuit of profit, has revolutionized the instruments of production and, in doing so, has revolutionized the entire world. It has broken down national barriers, created a global market, and concentrated wealth and power in the hands of a tiny minority. The Communist Manifesto is not merely a work of analysis, it is also a call to action. Marx and Engels believed that the proletariat, through its collective power, could overthrow the capitalist system and create a more just and equitable society. Workers of the world, unite, they proclaimed. You have nothing to lose but your chains. This stirring call to arms resonated with the working class, inspiring generations of revolutionaries and labor activists. The manifesto outlined a program for the communist revolution, arguing that the proletariat must seize state power and use it to expropriate the bourgeoisie. This would pave the way for the establishment of a classless society, a communist utopia, where the means of production would be owned collectively and where the exploitation of man by man would be abolished. It is important to note that Marx and Engels did not provide a detailed blueprint for this communist society. They believed that the specific forms of socialism would emerge organically from the struggles of the working class. Their goal was to provide a theoretical framework for understanding capitalism and for guiding the revolutionary movement. They wanted the workers of the world to feel united in a common cause, transcending national borders and cultural differences. Ultimately, their vision was of a world where social justice and equality would prevail, a world free from oppression and injustice. Join the movement. Stand up for workers' rights. Together, we can build a better future.